everyone, it's Lisa, and today I would like to discuss all of the carnivore rules that I break and have still had so much success on the carnivore diet. For those of you that are new, I did not intend on going on the carnivore diet. I knew that I needed to do the elimination diet. I knew that meat was the only thing that didn't upset my stomach. I had no idea how much carnivore was going to help me in every other area as far as like joint pain, just fogginess, and my just not depression, but just slight depression. I always hate to use that word too lightly. Through that process, I became a carnivore and I have been thriving. It has just changed my life so much that every day I want to just tell someone about it. A lot of people get bogged down in all the rules. If you watch a lot of doctors, that's why I like Dr. Ken, because I feel like he is very practical. But a lot of doctors and a lot of carnivore gurus will go through these rules and they just really talk about some things that are somewhat gross. If I thought I had to eat brains and a whole shrimp with the legs and the shell, things like that other people do, and there's nothing wrong with that if that's what they want to do, but I think that would have intimidated me. I think it would have made me feel like, no, I mean, that is gross. Already is probably not the most glamorous diet to be on. I think being a vegan is just so in and supposed to be so glamorous. It's so Hollywood that when you tell someone you're a carnivore, especially as a woman, you can really get some looks. It surprises people. And then they say, can you eat this? Can you eat that? Can you eat this? And you're like, no, no, no. But it really makes you feel so good. And I could just go on and on. But today, what I want to focus on are the rules that I break and things that may be stopping you from getting all of these benefits. Things that may be, like I said, gross, or things that may be expensive, just things that may stop you. I break a lot of rules, but I am still very, very successful. I have great lab work. My doctor asked me, am I telling people about how I have changed my conditions? I used to have to go to him and get shots in my hip. I complained about joint pain. I complained about both of my hips. I've had hip scans. I have had ultrasounds. I have had many things done trying to find out what was wrong with me, when all along it was what I was eating. I want to help you. The first rule that I break that I think could cause someone to doubt this is the grass-fed beef. Not only because it's expensive, it's not as easy to find. It is now. When I first started looking for it, it was not at every store. I mean, it might have been in like a vacuum-packed, really ugly-looking package that you would never want to buy. But now you can pretty much go to any grocery store and you're going to see some grass-fed beef, because even if I were to tell someone I'm carnivore but I only eat grass-fed beef, it's one of those things that I think is a little bit more glamorous. Chanel is in a mood this morning, so you might hear her playing in the background. She is my calico cat. Calicos are known to be crazy, and she fits it to a T. My advice for that is eat the meat that you like the best. I heard a doctor say this morning that even if you are eating the lowest meat, you're still going to be 95% better off than you were eating pasta, bread, sugar, cereal, oatmeal, all of those things that people think are so healthy. If you cut out all of those, because if you think about it, it's a lot of what you cut out. It's a lot of what you aren't eating. If you will just get the meat that you like. I started out with fillets because I always thought a fillet was my favorite steak. And so that is what I started out with. It did not take me long to learn that ribeyes are my favorite. I get the thin cut ribeyes when I can. Every once in a while, I'm forced to get the regular cut because they're out of the thin ones. We look for the ones that have the most fat. And John cooks those for me, my husband, on our Blackstone grill. So it's kind of like a griddle. And I eat shrimp that were frozen, that were farm raised. Now, if I can, I get the fresh shrimp, but if I can't, I get the colossal frozen shrimp from Walmart. So every night, that's what I eat, every night. I eat 2 ribeyes, and they're not very big. They're thin, and they're about the size of my hand. And I cook them. They say you should really try to eat your meat rare. That might be something else that grosses you out. You don't have to. They're saying that you get the most nutrients from the meat if you eat it rare. Well, I really like mine, I would say medium well. Like, I don't want it well, but I want it with just a little bit of pink. And if there isn't any pink, as long as it's not too well done, that's fine. So do the best that you can. Eat the meat that you crave. Eat the meat that tastes good to you. I don't eat bison. Like, I have eaten a bison burger, but it was okay, but it wasn't as good as a regular hamburger to me. I like the ground chuck, the 80-20. That's my favorite. So I eat what I crave. Eggs. Of course, it would be better for you to go get fresh eggs. The best would be for you to have your own chickens and know exactly what you fed them. But that's not practical for me. So I get the eggs that I get from the grocery store. We get Eggland's Best. I did have a video that I will put up here on how I boil my eggs, and that has been working for me. Now, I could maybe contact someone. I think there is a farmer's market near here in the summertime that I could get the eggs, but I've just been eating the regular eggs from the grocery store, and I have been thriving on the carnivore diet. That was number 2. So first is grass-fed beef. Don't get hung up on that. It does not taste good. To me, it tastes very weird. The eggs, that would be the second one. Processed meat or pork, which a lot of times the pork that I eat is processed meat, like sandwich ham. I don't eat it as much anymore, but in the beginning, don't get hung up on every single rule. In the beginning, I kept ham. It was not like a honey ham. I think it was just called oven roasted ham. I would either get it at our local grocery store or Walmart, and I would eat white American cheese. And in the mornings, I would have like a couple of ham and cheese roll-ups. So I don't do that as much anymore just because I'm not as hungry in the mornings. It's as simple as that. I don't need it. John was buying it and I wasn't eating it and we were throwing it out. So I told him to quit. But pork, sausage, bacon, and pepperoni. So bacon I've pretty much cut out, but in the beginning, bacon was a part of my diet. When I had a cheeseburger, I had bacon on it. And still to this day, especially if I'm traveling, like when Brooke and I, my daughter, we went out of town, I can't remember, I think both places, we went to Cheesecake Factory, which used to be one of my favorite places. So Brooke got whatever she wanted, and I got the bacon cheeseburger. And the reason I got the bacon on it is because I didn't know how big the burger was going to be. I didn't know how good it was going to be. So I was kind of getting that just to know. I mean, you're always going to like bacon. And of course, it was delicious. I was full. I didn't feel cheated from not being able to get cheesecake or anything like that. I just felt very, very satisfied. So in that case, I will get bacon, or like if we're on vacation, we go out to breakfast, of course, I'm going to eat the bacon with the eggs. But we don't eat it on the weekends like we used to, and I don't get it on my burger. Like if I go to McDonald's, I get the double quarter pounder with ketchup and cheese only, no bun, and a knife and fork. I always say that. That way they kind of get it, and I don't get the bacon. It started giving me just a little bit of heartburn. Then on the weekends, sometimes I usually get up before John, and he will text me from downstairs, "Hungry?" And I know he is hungry, and we both just love eggs. He actually cooks them on the grill, on the Blackstone, and he either does them in the egg cups, but lately we've been really loving just scrambled eggs. And I sometimes will have pepperoni. I like the thick sliced pepperoni, and he will cook that on the grill. You can even, if you want to, if you're craving pizza, add a little bit of mozzarella cheese into your eggs or do an omelet. That's what I used to do a lot in the beginning. And that is so good. It kind of gives you that pizza feeling because of the pepperoni. But lately, I have not even been craving the pepperoni. I have just wanted the eggs with some cheese melted into them. And it is just delicious. And I usually eat 4 eggs in the mornings when I do that. So don't get hung up on like your portion sizes or calories or anything like that. You are supposed to, especially in the beginning, you really need to eat until you are full. You're full. You're very satisfied. That is what's going to keep you on track. And it will really mentally, it will help you know, I'm going to be able to do this. I'm not even suffering. I'm not even hungry. That's the way I used to feel. Okay, number 4. This is what they call a gray area. And I would put coffee. I don't even know if I'd put coffee in here. I would put wine in here. But I drink Diet Coke. And I know that is Diet Coke for some reason brings out the monster in people. It just really like sends people over the edge. But I love it. I love every minute of it. It's part of my day. And so I asked the doctor, was there any reason for me to stop drinking Diet Coke? And he said, absolutely not. That all of my blood work is looking great. It has looked that way for, I believe, 4 times now. And there was no reason that I needed to stop having my Diet Coke. I love in the morning, I don't have it up here, when I'm getting ready, part of my routine is popping open a cold can of Diet Coke. That is my coffee. I don't drink coffee. Then with my cheeseburger, I like to get a large Diet Coke because they're only $1 at McDonald's. I rarely drink all of either one of those. 9 times out of 10, I end up pouring part of that out. It's best when it's very, very fresh. You Diet Coke lovers know what I mean. The other day I went through and they said they were out of Diet Coke. Did I want a Diet Dr. Pepper? And I said no. And I went to another McDonald's. I mean, there's just something about Diet Coke. And I think we're all like that with different things. But I do not have any of the signs where the Diet Coke is affecting me in a bad way. And this is what the main thing that people say Diet Coke can do is that it can cause you not to go into ketosis. They say it can cause you to still have sugar cravings. I have never had a problem going into ketosis. I don't do the strips anymore, but I just know, I mean, I did them all along the beginning. Oh, as far as me having sugar cravings, I mean, I don't crave anything. I crave my steak. I crave my steak at night. I would say that's the biggest thing. And anytime I think about having eggs, I just have the best feeling. For me, eggs are just like such a calming, satisfying food that I know no matter what, if I had to live off of eggs for the rest of my life, I could. That is number 4, Diet Coke. Number 5, it's not very glamorous and it's not very ladylike. They will say they eat nose to tail. Now I know that they're meaning they eat the whole cow. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to eat brains. I'm really probably not going to eat liver. If I had to eat any type of liver, it would be chicken livers, which I don't know if that's quite as nutritious. But I do know if that's something that you want to do, there are many liver supplements, like capsules that you can take. One day I might do that. I'm not at that point yet. You know, I think as you go through this diet, you refine different things and you experiment. There really are no rules, but there are some basics. The biggest basic is no carbs, no berries. Okay, this is something I felt like I needed to mention because a lot of times when you watch a carnivore video, they will say that you are allowed to eat berries. That is, I guess, another gray area. I do not eat berries. There is no doubt that fruit is going to raise your blood sugar. I think in the very, very beginning, I tried to eat some blueberries and blackberries, and I'm not the kind of person that can eat 5 blueberries. Like, I'm not even the kind of person that can eat 2 French fries. I want a large. I'm not the kind of person that can eat 2 cookies. I want to know I can eat the whole pack. I'm just that way. I'm an all or nothing type person. And I think that's why I'm a good example for you, because I am that kind of person, but yet I've been able to tweak this diet in the perfect way to work for me. Berries, I'm gonna leave that up to you. I'm gonna leave everything up to you, but I'm gonna share what I think, and I don't think berries are the way to go, but I'm gonna put that out there. Ketchup, ketchup, ketchup. Ketchup is one of those things. I eat it on my burger and I eat it on my steak. I don't like, oh, I hate it when they put too much ketchup on my burger. And I do eat the Simply whatever ketchup at night with my steak. I have been experimenting with butter. A lot of people will just get a little bit of their Kerrygold pure butter and have that with their steak. I tried that the other night and it was really good. So that's something that I may experiment with on kind of weaning myself off of the ketchup, but it hasn't bothered me. It hasn't kept me from feeling good. It hasn't kept me from going into ketosis, and it hasn't kept me from losing weight. So it's one of those things. It's one of those things that you have to pick your battles. Number 8, spices. Spices are another thing. You don't want to, like, I'm trying to avoid vegetables. So there are certain spices I can't use. Like when they were out of the main spice that we used, I tried another one. And I think I even told you guys about it. I felt so bad. And I think I put an annotation beside it a couple of days later. I think the one with onion really upset my stomach. But the one that we use, and I will list it below, we use on everything. And it does not upset my stomach. I don't know why that one in particular I just agree with. I use that on my steak, my shrimp, and I have not eaten chicken thighs in a long time. But John eats chicken thighs a lot. I think it's been probably a month since I have had maybe one, just because I tried some of his, because he'll say, oh, this is so good, you have to try it. So we use that on those two. And if you are near a Big Lots, I don't know how common Big Lots are, if they're a southern store or whatever, but the soul food seasoning, there is no better chicken seasoning than soul food seasoning. It's just salt. It is just so salty, but it's so good. So spices, that is one of those things that you just have to play with. Okay, olive oil instead of butter or beef tallow to cook my steaks with. John uses like an olive oil spray. And what got us started on that is watching Dr. Gundry, who literally drinks olive oil every day. And he was just, going on and on about the benefits of olive oil. There's enough fat in your steak to actually cook it basically on its own. Especially like ground beef, any kind of fatty meat, you usually are going to have enough fat on its own. But what John does is spray it a little bit to get the spices and stuff to stick to it. In a perfect world, I would love for him to use butter. My mom uses butter with her steaks, and when I bite into her steaks, it tastes like cake. And that sounds crazy, but the butter on the steak makes it taste like ribeye pound cake. That is going to be something, again, that I work towards. So if you need to use like the spray olive oil, or if you just like olive oil, you can do that and be successful. Intermittent fasting. I do intermittent fast, but it is not a forced thing. It just happened. It just happened. I'm just like right now, I haven't eaten anything. It's not that late. It's like 10:30, and I'm not hungry. And I got up at 5:30. Some days I do get hungry, and especially if John texts me and if he says you're hungry, of course I'm going to have some eggs, so I don't worry about it. But what you will find out is usually you're not hungry until I'm hungry from any time from 12 to about 2, depending on what time I got up that morning. And then I eat dinner from 5:30 to 6:30, anywhere in that time. And the best thing is I do not think about food again. I do not even think about it. It's not that I'm hungry and I'm not eating. It's literally, I'm satisfied until it's time for the next meal. It is amazing. It's amazing. It is. I will never quit talking about it. Coffee. We didn't talk about coffee. Coffee. Black coffee, I know, is just like a no-brainer. Yes, you can have black coffee. A lot of people drink unsweetened iced tea, but a lot of people will drink their coffee with like the heavy cream. Just don't use almond milk or something that's made out of grain and has carbs in it. So if you are a coffee drinker, I know how you feel. That's how I am with my Diet Coke. Just drink your coffee, and then whatever sweetener. I think the best sweetener that most people are going to want you to drink would be, I can't remember the name of it right now. I'll have to put it up here. I think it was it. I can't remember right now what the one is. It's not Splendid, but I think it starts with an S. And drink your coffee. Now wine, I don't think there's any way of getting around wine raising your insulin and your blood sugar. So I would put that right there with berries. I guess that makes sense. But here's what I'm thinking. If you have a glass of wine and you're eating carnivore for the rest of the day or the rest of the week, say you're only drinking wine on the weekend, I think you're still going to just reap huge benefits. Think about it that way. Don't focus on the things, the negatives and the little things you can't do. Focus on that big improvement that you're going to make. And when you feel just the difference, guys, I just had to wait for my camera to cool off. I've been talking to you about this so much. It's probably been so long, but I think that just pretty much wraps it up. If you have any questions for me, please feel free to send me a direct message on Instagram or leave a comment or a question down below. I will get back to you if I can, as soon as I can. And that way it can help other people too. You know, like your question might be something that they were wanting to ask. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you got a little nugget of knowledge out of it and some inspiration and some love from me. And I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.